For me personally, I have 4 perfect anime, 4 absolute masterpieces, 2 of which are incredibly popular, being Attack on Titan and Steins Gate. I mean, everyone has seen or at least heard of these 2 shows, especially Attack on Titan. And then another perfect show for me would be Psycho Pass, which, although isn't as mainstream, it's still relatively popular and universally loved. But then we get onto the show I'll be talking about today. That is by far the least mainstream of the 4, but still one of the greatest shows I've ever seen, and that is none other than Monster. So let's get straight into it then. Monster, the best anime you've probably never seen, and today I'm going to explain why that is and why you should give it a go. And also, before I begin, I should say I watched this show dubbed, not subbed, which I know is a bit of a cardinal sin in anime, but I thought I should just let you know what my perspective was beforehand. Right, so the first thing to notice about Monster is how un-anime it is. There is no ridiculous power system with crazy looking characters, no traditional anime tropes and too much fan service. More than any other anime, Monster is incredibly grounded in reality. It's just a pure real-life thriller. So let me begin by talking about the premise, and if you're interested, I won't be spoiling any major plot points after the first couple episodes. The story begins with protagonist Dr. Kenzo Tenma, a Japanese neurosurgeon working in a hospital in West Germany in the mid-1980s, when he's forced to make a choice between saving the life of a famous singer or a critically injured immigrant worker, and since the singer was more important as a patient, Dr. Tenma is ordered to operate on him and leave the worker to die. This causes him to question himself and be questioned, knowing that his actions inadvertently caused the death of an innocent person. So when the same situation arises not too long after, a choice between the local mayor and a young boy recently shot in the head, Tenma ignores the hospital director and chooses to operate on the boy instead, and subsequently saved his life at the cost of the mayor's life, resulting in Dr. Tenma losing his social status, his fiancée, and all the respect he had otherwise earned. However, it quickly goes from bad to worse when not long after, 2 doctors and the hospital director are found dead at the hands of the same boy Dr. Tenma saved the life of, the main antagonist of the series, Johann Liebert. The murders are subsequently blamed on Dr. Tenma, resulting in him becoming a most wanted man on the run, losing everything he'd ever worked for up until that point, with the police under a firm belief that this mysterious killer, Johann Liebert, was nothing but a delusion in Dr. Tenma's head. And that's where I'm going to end it just for the premise. The series continues after a 9-year time skip, with a constant game of cat and mouse between Dr. Tenma and Johann, in a similar dynamic to Light and L from Death Note. This is probably, in my opinion, the best show at keeping you on the edge of your seat. You never expect just what's around the corner, and it's always so satisfying whenever a new plot point is developed and intertwined into the rest of the story. As I said before, this anime is pure thriller. It is so engaging, and it's probably best to binge in a short amount of time, as I did, although one of the biggest potential problems with Monster is that it is very slow, at 74 episodes long, but my god, it takes its sweet old time, and to be honest, I'm quite happy it takes that long to develop the characters and the overall story to that extent. The series I think would be much worse if it was a traditional 25 episode anime. Anyway, let's talk about the characters, why don't we? The protagonist, Dr. Kenzo Tenma, is a very likeable character who you really want to succeed after all the awful stuff he's been through, as well as the other protagonist, Anna Liebert, Johann's twin sister, also at the hospital where Johann's life was saved and the murders occurred. And then the antagonist, Johann Liebert himself, an absolutely amazing villain in my opinion, a cold yet sophisticated and incredibly smart psychopath, responsible for the deaths of people all throughout Germany, all of which are blamed under the hands of Kenzo Tenma, with only a few characters believing the existence of this Johann Liebert. Other notable characters include Inspector Longe, a police inspector in charge with the arrest of Dr. Tenma, who in my opinion has the best character development out of any character in the series, Ava Heinemann, Tenma's former fiancée, and later on, Wolfgang Grimmer, who I won't spoil because in my opinion, he's the most interesting character in the series. If it wasn't already clear somehow, I absolutely adore this series, and so do most people. Although on my anime list it's 165th in popularity, it's critically ranked all the way up in 30th, with an average score of 8.77 out of 10, putting it ahead of some other extremely popular modern anime I also love, like Demon Slayer, Vinland Saga, Death Note, Jujutsu Kaisen, and JoJo. The only thing that kind of put me off from Monster at the start was the art style. It screams old, even by 2004 standards, and especially when comparing it to even older anime like Evangelion and Cowboy Bebop, it might leave a lot to be desired, but over time it's kind of grown on me. The sort of realistic, grounded art style used really does look effective in such a cynical and horrific story. But anyway, I think I've covered everything I wanted to do in this video, just putting Monster on a bit more of a spotlight because I think it's a fantastic show that everyone should watch. If it's not for you, fair enough, but you should definitely give it at least a try at some point. So with that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.